Let me ask you, what is, as far as major powers go, what is the most experienced military on the planet right now? Major powers. I'm not talking about history or anything else. Major powers. What is the military? What's the country? Russia. The answer is Russia. Russia has been fighting an awful artillery drone war for years in Ukraine. Now, the reason I said major powers is you could easily say, well, Ukraine is too. Yeah, but they've been losing. I mean, they've got 50-year-olds in uniform. The Russians still have a bunch of young men. Their equipment is getting better. Their tactics are getting better. Russia knows more about fighting a war in the year 2025 than any other country on the planet. That's not me saying Russia's better than us. They certainly are not. And that's not me saying we can't learn. We can. But it takes time in war to get up to speed. Did you know part of the reason why the beginning of World War II went so poorly for us? This is something we don't talk about a lot, but you know why we had all those losses? Navy losses, land losses? Our leadership sucked. We had a peacetime military leadership. They weren't ready. They weren't equipped. And so it took time to fire all the necessary generals and admirals and replace them with people who were capable. And eventually we did, and we won, and all that was good. So let's go to China. China wants Taiwan. Here, I need to clarify. There is a situation in China that I need to clarify, and I know you don't necessarily care about China, and neither do I, but this may apply to us, so we have to discuss it. There's a situation. Xi Jinping is the head of the Communist Party. You already know this. But because we're not there, we oftentimes, unless we're studying it, we don't know the political stability situation. If you had asked me even a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, hey, how's Xi Jinping's hold on power? I hadn't done that much research into it. You know, I'm more of an ugly American. I would have said, oh, I mean, he rules with an iron fist. He's a dictator. Kind of. There are other very powerful families in the Communist Party who hate him. He has killed their relatives, their fathers, their grandfathers. There are generals inside of the Chinese army that are unhappy with him. Their economy is on the brink. If you listen to people, it is on the brink. They have spent way too much money. They are buried in debt. They have, obviously, you know how many people, China's famous for how many people they have. They got 1 billion people over there. They can't afford 25% unemployment, or there's going to be a revolution of angry Chinamen, and Xi Jinping is going to be out and probably dead the way they handle things over there. He is in a very dangerous situation, as almost all communist dictators always are. Remember, Stalin is thought of as someone who ruled absolutely. Stalin always thought he was going to get overthrown and assassinated. He thought another dirty commie was going to take him out, because that's what they do. By the way, there's a lot of people who believe another commie did, but anyway, that's another story. So Xi Jinping has a situation. He wants Taiwan. In part, he thinks he needs Taiwan, meaning it's not just that he wants it. China has always thought it belongs to them. We won't let them have it, but they've always thought it belongs to them. That's why even on their maps, it's not called Taiwan, right? It's just part of China. He wants it. He also might need it, meaning he needs a win. He needs a political win over there. But there's another part. What if he struggles to get it? What if he decides he wants to take Taiwan? Because he can take Taiwan. But what if Taiwan puts up a little bit of a fight? Remember, we ship Taiwan things they need to defend themselves. What if Taiwan puts up a bit of a fight? What if China takes a loss here, a loss there? He might be in trouble. Now, back to Russia. Here's a headline for you. How Russia is helping China prepare to seize Taiwan. This is about airdropping armored vehicles and things like that. Again, stuff Russia has had to learn the hard way over the last few years. China, they have not. Russia knows. China doesn't. I am not saying there's about to be a war with Taiwan, and I'm not saying you have to stress about it. We got enough of our own problems here. But if there is, if Xi Jinping decides his power, maybe his life, requires him to take Taiwan, the chances the United States military is going to get involved in some way, they're pretty strong. Trump's not going to stand by and let it happen. Our policy towards China taking Taiwan has always been very, very fuzzy on purpose. All of our politicians will talk out of both sides of their mouths. Well, yes, militarily we'll step in and defend them. Well, I'm not really sure. We have a great relationship with China, so no one exactly knows what our policy is, including China. But I think it would be naive to think Donald Trump would sit back and let China do it. Now, we just had a hour-long talk about the shape of the military. It gets a little more real when you consider there's a chance our military would have to go around the world and possibly take on a combined military of Russia and Chinese soldiers. It gets more real when you think about your son or, sadly, your daughter in the South China Sea on a Navy ship with a hypersonic missile coming her way. Gets real, doesn't it? It gets real, and it gets real, real fast. Just wanted to drive that point home. And, you know, I forgot to tease this. Next hour, about halfway through next hour, I am going to bring on a friend of mine. He's a merchant marine captain. His name is John Conrad, very sharp guy. Merchant marine captain. You know how we've talked a lot about firefighting on a ship? It just always comes up, especially when you discuss World War II, because it was so necessary with these huge naval battles, especially against Japan. Ships are burning, kamikazes, you're trying to put out fires. It's a nightmare. He has, not in World War II, but he has had to fight fires, big, scary ones, on ships in the middle of the ocean. And I'm going to ask him about that. We're going to talk about that. It's something to think about. And it also drives home why we need a retrofitted military that is prepped and ready to go.